Me today, my first ever female interviewee. Her name is Cristy, and Cristy was actually born in Mexico, correct?
Correct.
And you moved here when you were
6 years old.
So you've been here for 12?
Si, senor.
Si, senor. Okay. What's like the major difference you've noticed about living in America as opposed to living in Mexico?
Definitely the culture and family values. Family is a bigger issue down in Mexico from what I've
So
seen.
children in America are more independent from their parents,
Yes.
you might say? Okay.
Mm-hmm. In Mexico, a lot of the children depend a lot more on their parents and their family. They're they just stick with their family a lot longer than what kids normally do here.
So you're saying you might have a 20-something-year-old living with their parents,
Mm-hmm.
and that's normal?
Yeah,
a lot more normal
pretty
than it is here? Is that how your family is, or would you expect to be living on your own?
No, I expect to be living on my own at that age.
You don't want to be living with your parents?
Okay.
Yeah. Is there anything that you'd say you miss about Mexico? I know you didn't live there all that long, but...
No, I don't think I really miss anything.
So, life in America for you has been...
better than...
Have you found life in America to be at all hindered by the fact that you were born in Mexico? Have you had any, issues with that?
No.
No?
I mean, my parents have different, views on a lot of different things than most American parents here, but
that's
other
to be
than
expected.
that,
It's a culture thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll start talking politics a little bit here. I guess the one topic you have to talk about is immigration. How would you say you feel about that?
I think they've made it seem a bigger deal than what it should be.
So would you say, there's a lot of, movement out there to try to provide routes to citizenship for illegal immigrants that are currently in America? Are you in favor of that?
Yes.
And also, I would imagine, I should say I'd imagine, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that you would feel that it should be easier to get legal, to legally immigrate to America than it is, so that people wouldn't have to come illegally?
Yes.
Okay, well, I can't say I don't agree with you there. How do you feel about the idea of putting up a huge fence around the Mexican border?
I think, honestly, they'll just find a way to get around it.
Yeah, that's one that came up a lot in the recent the Republican presidential debates. I was just like, are we actually talking about this? But anyway, we'll move on. Also, I guess since you're the first woman or female, depending on who, I say you're a woman. Anytime on my blog here, let's talk about a women's rights issue. I guess you could say, how do you feel about abortion?
Personally, I don't agree with it, but in other women's kind of views, I would say that it's all depending on what they have to...
Circumstantial?
Yes. On their circumstances, yes.
Yeah, but obviously, I think that's what most women would say. I don't think any woman would ever ideally envision themselves getting an abortion.
Mm-hmm.
But so you feel you're pro-choice if you had to lay on one side or the other.
I think they should have.
Well, actually, here's one. I don't know if you're this. I don't know how much you've followed up on it. There's been a lot of issues recently with Obamacare and with Obama. Well, there's a lot of issues with Obamacare, but this specifically about providing female employees or all employees in general with birth control. Right. Do you think that all employers through their healthcare providings should provide for women's birth control?
Yes, I think they should.
You think female birth control or birth control in general should be a part of basic healthcare?
Yes, I think it should. I'm Catholic, and I know my religion is strictly against that. But my kind of views, they don't really agree with what my religion has to say. I think birth control is a good idea.
I agree with you there. Mm-hmm. Then I guess one thing we talked about before we put on the capture button, before we started recording, was that sometimes minorities have different opinions towards gay rights. We've talked about gay rights a lot on this channel. It just seems to have come up in my other interviews. I really don't know exactly why. But how would you feel about that?
I think there's no set rules for how someone should be. If they're happy with it and how they are, then...
Do you think that being gay is a choice, or you think you're born that way?
I think you're born. I think you're born with it.
All right, well, is there anything else that you would like to get across while we're here?
No, I don't think so. Any other questions?
No, we're good. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Cristy.
Thanks. My hands are really sweaty.